Hi everyone, it's Miss Adine in Orange. Today we're showing motion with the gray man and a picture of a person with plants growing out of the top of their head. And the gray man is going to be blowing those plants away. So I'm showing motion in a wonky way because we can show motion in art that's realistic and completely unrealistic. So here I am drawing, and Orange is just hanging out in the top. He is around every single video I make, so I figured I'd let you see him while I'm working. So here's the outline in pencil. And I spend a lot of time today with marker. This video is a little sped up. And today I'm using a bunch of different kinds of markers and a paint pen. So here I have some Indian ink markers. And they're nice. They just blend really well. And I'm using all different colors. And of course, I have lots of ear piercings in this. And I'm adding little tiny dots to color in the eyes. That way there's still some white behind them. And Orange is just hanging out and watching. He always is. Now here for the tree branches that are growing out of the head, I'm using different browns. And they're all bending away from the gray man's breath because he's blowing really hard after his long run. And he's blowing and they are just pushing the other way. I'm having some grass growing there because it's really important to have grass growing in your head underneath your trees. Very important there. Orange is looking the other way. He's not so sure he agrees with me. So here I'm adding some darker green in with a lighter green and a little bit darker so it looks like it's a little bit real because it's important to have realism in your imagination. So my lips are really nice and red. And as I color them in, I'm always really aware of the direction my marker goes in because you do see the lines. And I'm adding a little bit of a highlighter there. And now I'm adding some skin tone. It's just sort of a beigey color. And you can see that my lines are going in a really distinct direction. And you can see those marks. And as I fill it in, I work in different directions, and it helps with giving the face a little bit of dimensionality. It's still flat, but it does separate the features a tiny bit. Going over it with a little bit of another color. Now over here you can see that I'm going in a horizontal line that's slightly curved to go along with what would be a cheek. And even though it's the same color, you can see the marker lines add to detail. Layering the colors again. A thinking pause, it's always important. And now I'm going to make my gray man gray. Giving some eyelashes and coloring his lips in a little bit. A little bit of blue for his lips and his eyes. So these details of outlining, you don't see much difference as I go, but then you do. Oh, here's Orange in real life stepping on everything because it's his favorite thing to do. And here's the gray, and it's all going in one direction with him. So my gray man is officially gray. Okay. So I'm outlining his lips to give them a little bit of definition, making his eye a little darker. And I'm putting lines of where his breath goes and giving him some really long eyelashes and an ear with earrings. I'm outlining a little bit of the top of my head where it opens. And I like adding the little bit of the dark to that, along with the breath lines. A little bit of a few more dots around my eyes. There's always a little bit more detail you can add, right? So with this, I could stop here, but I wouldn't be quite happy. So I'm going over this to test how I like it with some color blue for the background. It's a really light color pencil. And again, I'm going in horizontal lines away from the blue man, so his breath is still blowing it, and Orange is back staring at us, because he is the whole time. Orange is always hanging out when I make these videos. Sometimes he's a little bit more persistent for attention and is on top of them. Today he's just watching. So you can see I like that blue, but I want it to be more intense. So I'm going to change that in a little bit. Here I'm adding, this is a white gel pen. And I'm just adding where I'm going to have some little flowers, some white flowers that are going to be like blowing away from the gray man on the trees that are growing out of my head. Because we all have trees that grow out of our heads, especially in April when it's spring. So I'm adding a little bit here. It's hard to see, so I'm going to have to work more on that to make these stand out. But I kind of like those little tiny dots. They really do add to the fact that those are trees with some flowers and they're really simple. Maybe they're dogwoods. So, okay, so I've decided to go over the background with a blue Crayola. And the Crayola is not going to smear anything because it's a water-based marker. So it won't smear the Indian ink markers or the gel pen. And I'm doing horizontal lines so that the direction is all going away from him. Still pushing away. And I'm leaving some of the white behind. That's on purpose. I want to leave a little bit there. So now I'm going over and over and over these little white spots to make them really stand out. And you can see that it takes a little while for me to find the right materials, the right pens to do that. Now, if you don't have gel pens, it's possible to do this with a crayon or a wax-based color pencil. It will probably take a little bit longer for that to work. Here I'm still doing it, still adding those little dots. Sometimes creating art can be tedious. Orange is licking his lips and watching us with that big yawn. Yeah, he's getting sick of my little dots. Up, here's Midnight coming to say hi. She wants to know what all the mess is about. And here I've switched to a Sharpie ink marker, and it makes those white marks stand out, my little leaves, a little bit more. And it's getting more of a feeling of being blown away by the gray man. Right? You can see that the trees are bending and the leaves and petals are blowing. And it's starting to look really kind of cool in an interesting way. Up, I spilled a little paint and I just wiped it up with a paper towel. So here I've decided that I need to outline everything. So I'm going to outline it in a blue fine tip marker. It's a micro tip plate marker. And you can see that you can start to see the the white dots a little bit more. But again, this is like what it is to make something. You keep working and working, and you do one thing and you realize you like it, but you still need to add something else. So sometimes this process takes longer than we want it to and can feel a little tedious. But while you're making it, you can get really into the fine details. So I keep going around and around. There's something really zen about doing this small work. Orange is still staring off to the side. Gets a little bored, looks away. He's such a good boy. But as I work, you can see it's looking darker. And I still decided that I want them to stand out even more. So I'm taking a black marker and going around the blue lines. So it's not perfect. Some of the blue lines are getting covered, but most of it is around the outside. And the shapes aren't all the same. Some are bigger. So like there might be a little bit of white and then the blue outline and then a space and then a black mark. I'm not going for perfect. I just want those leaves, those white leaves that are blowing away, to really stand out more. And I think that I really like the way this is coming, even though Orange refuses to look at it at the moment. Oh, maybe he's gonna turn his head, and now he's watching. He's a good boy. So this is my blue man. Add a little bit more white paint from my Sharpie marker. And I think I'm just about done. I might add a little bit more to my gray man. He might need a little bit extra details. Yeah, my lips. And my mouth is a little bit too white in there. I'm going to have to work on that. So sometimes when you're doing art, you might think you're done. And then you step back and you look at it and you're like, oh, I need to add a little bit more here and there. So here I'm adding just a little bit of blue. Right? Giving him some more hair, some more eyelashes. And now I'm going to fill in the inside of my mouth this light pink. And it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes enough difference that I like. So I hope you really enjoyed the video. It was fun making, and see you soon.